It's just business means someone got screwed. That phrase isn't an explanation. It's confirmation. Capitalism is business as usual, endless, self-perpetuating, and built to normalize exploitation. It presents itself as freedom, but at its core it demands autonomic necessity. You must work or you cannot eat, cannot live, cannot maintain identity, cannot participate. That's not choice. That's structural coercion. And it's everywhere you look. I know this because I learned it on a fishing boat in the Gulf of Alaska. I was a deckhand chasing a dream. I showed up with the standard pitch: work hard, make fast money, buy my own boat, get my power trawler license, maybe buy into halibut quota shares. Be my own boss, independent, free. Here's what the math looks like for fishing in Alaska: real numbers, real constraints, typical earnings, and real costs. These numbers are grounded in 2025 data from sources like ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, and industry reports. Deckhand annual gross earnings: around $48,000 to $50,000 on average. It's seasonal, with peaks up to $60,000 in good years, but often unstable due to weather and quotas. For crab boats, a 3-month stint might net $50,000, but that's not year-round reliability. Small boat or skiff purchase: $30,000 to $150,000 for a used commercial vessel. For example, 30 to 38 footers listed at $15,000 to $150,000 on sites like Pacific Boat Brokers. New models like a Lund Alaskan start at $47,000 plus. Power trawler license or permit: $19,500 to $21,000 for the permit alone, or up to $75,000 as a package with gear. Halibut quota share buy-in: often $200,000 to $500,000 plus for viable shares. Based on IFQ calculators from Alaska Sea Grant and market trends, dock prices hover at $6.50 to $8.50 per pound in 2025. But acquiring shares requires massive upfront capital due to artificial scarcity. Annual operating expenses: $40,000 to $120,000 plus for fuel, ice, bait, and maintenance, plus $20,000 to $80,000 for insurance, repairs, dock fees, permits, and gear. Debt service on loans adds 10 to 20% interest, eating another $10,000 to $50,000 annually. The pipe dream math: let's break it down simply. Assume a deckhand earns $50,000 gross. After taxes of 20 to 25%, and living expenses in Alaska of $40,000 plus for basics like housing in Sitka, where median rent is $1,500 a month, plus food and healthcare, you're left with maybe $5,000 to $10,000 in savings if nothing breaks. To buy a $100,000 boat, a $20,000 license, and $300,000 quota shares, that's a $420,000 total startup. At $7,500 savings per year, that's 56 years. Factor in 5% loan interest on $420,000, and your savings evaporate into debt service. No emergencies, no family, no inflation hikes, and you're still grinding at 75 like your captain. That's when it clicks. If this worked the way the story says it does, that man would be retired. The system wouldn't require his bones to keep moving for it to remain solvent. He sold his house in Sitka and moved to the Philippines because survival economics demanded it. Cheaper rent, cheaper food, cheaper everything offline from the machine's chokehold. This isn't unique to fishing. That's just where the cold makes it obvious. Ask a nurse. Average US RN salary in 2025 is $93,600 to $98,430. But adjusted for cost of living, it's $77,000 to $112,000 by state. Living expenses? In high-cost areas like California, $80,000 plus annually. Net savings minimal, hence doubles at 62. Math: $95,000 salary minus $70,000 expenses equals $25,000. But student debt payments eat $5,000 a year, decades to freedom. Ask a teacher. National average $66,600 to $71,699. But many tutor weekends for extra money. Expenses, $50,000 plus in mid-cost areas. Savings grind, $70,000 minus $55,000 equals $15,000 a year. But pensions are underfunded. Retire? Ask a trucker. $47,130 to $57,440 median, with burnout from 60-plus hour weeks. Expenses, $45,000 plus. Net, barely ahead. Optional sleep, a choice. Ask a software engineer. $112,165 to $189,493 total compensation. But in tech hubs, cost of living leaves debt peonage. Math, $150,000 minus $120,000 expenses and debt equals $30,000 savings. But burnout cycles reset it. Ask a gig worker. Average $69,000, but 55% under $50,000, with median $25 an hour for contractors. Instability, no benefits, variable months, net poverty for many. Different uniforms, same arithmetic. The machine doesn't care what you do. It only cares that you keep doing it.
When someone critiques capitalism as slavery by another name, the conversation is derailed by a single reflex phrase. What, you want communism? And immediately someone invokes Stalin, gulags, or Jonestown, and the nervous system shuts down. This isn't accident. It's firewall. At the heart of that deflection is the phrase, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid."
In 1978, Jim Jones was the leader of the People's Temple, a religious organization that started with progressive ideals like racial integration and social justice programs in the U.S. Jones relocated over 900 followers to Jonestown, Guyana, an isolated commune. On November 18, 1978, amid investigations, Jones orchestrated a mass suicide and murder. Cyanide-laced flavor aid killed 918 people, including over 300 children. It was dubbed the People's Temple Massacre. The phrase, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid," became a meme for blind obedience, cult danger, and uncritical groupthink, warning against following leaders into madness. But here's the twist. This historical event was co-opted to serve as psychological firewall in public discourse. The conspiracy lens posits the People's Temple as a CIA op, dually engineering an autonomic brain link. Cult gets fused with communism. This threatens capitalism's authority by associating alternatives with mind enslavement, mass suicide, and evil. Historical context. Amid Cold War anti-communist hysteria, it vaccinated against collective experiments. People begin to explore alternatives to capitalism, cooperatives, communal ownership, post-scarcity ideas, and the first associative leap is cult, then Jim Jones, then mass suicide, then evil. And the conversation collapses before it begins.
That's not honest critique, that's associative sabotage. Communism, National Socialism, and the firewall. Let's be clear. Communism is an economic structure where the means of production are collectively owned. National Socialism, or Nazism, is a political ideology of authoritarian, state-centric hierarchy and ethnic supremacy. They are not the same thing. The deliberate conflation, especially in Western discourse, was not organic. It was engineered to make the idea of collective economics trigger fear responses tied to totalitarian horror stories. This firewall was useful to the beneficiaries of capitalism. It kept alternatives taboo, conversation deadened, oppression unexamined. Real communes, mutual aid structures with shared ownership, have existed inside capitalist brackets. But we have never seen a true large-scale communism operate outside that containment without being undermined, sanctioned, or destabilized. That matters.
Here's where the narrative becomes almost mythic. Jim Jones dies in 1978, supposedly by self-inflicted gunshot, but only aerial photos and disputed autopsy evidence remain. At nearly the same time, within a couple of years, Elon Musk emerges with an ambiguous origin story, claiming wealth from an emerald mine in Zambia that doesn't exist per investigations. Elon Musk, the ultimate capitalist success story, looks just like Jim Jones in an uncanny way. Charismatic, messianic vibe, building isolated empires. Both cultivate devoted followers, Jones with sermons, Musk with tweets. Both promise liberation while centralizing power. The resemblance? Eerie in photos. Angular faces, intense stares, cult-like adoration. Conspiracy whispers. A rebrand? A firewall reboot? Both are charismatic storytellers. Both cultivate followings that border on devotion. Jones with promises of equality, Musk with visions of the future. Both build isolated worlds. Jonestown in the jungle, Musk's ventures in deserts and orbits. And both emerge as antidotes or firewalls to threats. Jones' socialism, twisted into horror to scare off collectives. Musk's hypercapitalism as the shiny alternative to systemic critique. The machine protects itself. Back on the boat, the sea doesn't care about ideology. The winch turns. The lines come up. Fish become numbers. Numbers become debt service. Debt service becomes tomorrow. You realize the trap isn't that you can't escape individually. Some people do. The trap is that the system requires most people not to. It only functions if enough bodies stay on deck. Enough fear stays in circulation. Enough dreams stay deferred but not dead. Capitalism doesn't need to beat you. It just needs to keep you busy. So when someone says it's just business, hear it clearly. It means the system worked. It means the loss was accounted for. It means the suffering fit inside the spreadsheet. And out on the water, watching a 75-year-old man haul gear he should have put down decades ago, you understand something cold and precise. This machine was never designed to let most of us arrive, only to keep us moving.
In the United States, homelessness persists even among those who are employed, highlighting systemic failures in wage structures and housing affordability. According to recent data from the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness and studies referenced in 2024 to 2025 reports, as many as 40 to 60% of people experiencing homelessness have a job, often full or part-time, frequently in low-wage sectors like retail, food service, or gig work. A 2021 University of Chicago analysis estimated around 53% in shelters and 40% unsheltered were employed in the observed periods, with newer insights, including a 2024 study, showing nearly half of homeless adults had formal employment in the year they were homeless. With the total homeless population reaching a record 771,480 people in the 2024 point-in-time count, an 18% increase from 2023. This translates to roughly 308,000 to 463,000 employed individuals who are unhoused, despite working steadily. These figures have worsened due to housing costs outpacing wage growth, forcing many into vehicles, motels, or streets even with income. The disparity divide in America exacerbates this crisis, creating a stark contrast between abundant resources and unmet needs. Recent analyses, drawing from U.S. Census Bureau vacant housing data and HUD homelessness counts, show between 28 and 46 vacant homes per unhoused person nationwide, with some estimates reaching 45.9 empty properties per homeless individual when including all categories of vacancies, around 14 to 17 million vacant units total. Adjusting for truly available and habitable units, excluding seasonal or vacation homes, those in disrepair or in transition, lowers the ratio to about 8 or 9, but the raw numbers still reveal profound inefficiency. This imbalance stems from structural factors. Housing is treated as a speculative investment rather than a human right, with investors, corporations, and wealthy individuals hoarding properties for appreciation. Short-term rentals like Airbnb or as assets, driving up prices and locking out locals. Zoning laws, NIMBYism, and policies favoring tax breaks for real estate over low-income subsidies perpetuate the gap, turning shelter into a profit engine. Many vacancies are in rural or declining areas far from job centers, while urban demand goes unmet, leaving millions in overcrowding or doubled-up situations while properties sit empty. These realities tie directly into the broader critique. Employment as conditional permission to exist doesn't guarantee dignity or stability when the system values extraction over equity. The machine keeps people moving, working, paying, surviving, yet abundance is hoarded and scarcity manufactured for profit. These critiques of capitalism, as a system that amplifies disparities, point to deeper human and societal dynamics. Consider John B. Calhoun's Universe 25 experiment from the 1960s and 1970s, often called Mouse Utopia, as an analogy. Calhoun created an enclosed habitat for mice with unlimited food, water, and nesting materials. No predators, no scarcity. Initially, the population boomed to over 2,200. But as density increased, despite abundance, social behaviors collapsed. Males became aggressive or withdrawn, females neglected offspring, hypersexuality and violence erupted, and reproduction halted. The colony went extinct even after space opened up, because the mice had lost the drive for normal social roles. Here, capitalism isn't the beast. It's a symptom of the underlying utopia trap. Overabundance without meaningful purpose, equitable distribution, or healthy social structures leads to dysfunction, inequality, hoarding, and breakdown. Just as the mice's paradise bred apathy and chaos through resource concentration and social friction, modern society's wealth concentration, alienation, and manufactured scarcity reflect not just economic design, but a fundamental mismatch between human instincts and unchecked systems. The experiment warns that abundance alone doesn't save us. Without balance, connection, and fairness, even paradise can turn dystopian.